Good morning. Today is the 18th of October 2024 and I'm going to go through my watch list and my levels I'm watching today. As always, before we start, let's take a look, see what could move the market later. We've had 8:30 news, not much happened at 8:30, even though we gave us 3 out of 3 for volatility. But we do have Fed speakers at market open, 9:30, 10, 12:10 and 12:30, so keep an eye on them. I'm going hiking later, so I'm travelling to go hiking for tomorrow morning, so I'm probably not going to trade unless I see something I really like. We're right in between the levels I'm watching right now. On my screen we're looking at the S&P 500 E-mini futures and it's the 1 hour time frame. Just wait for my pen to load. And we're kind of right in between where we're watching. So obviously I'll be watching for the break and retest of pre-market high. Long, that's a higher probability because it's in the direction of the trend, and I'll also consider the break and retest of the pre-market low if we get down to that area. So these are the two areas I'm watching for: break and retest long or break and retest short. Yesterday's pre-market held, so you can use that as a bounce area as well while we're in the uptrend. So just keep an eye on these regions. That's 58.89, 58.90 area and 59.02. Basically we're right at 5900. It's a psychological number and a round number, so we may see a bit of a rejection at that point, but a break and retest is what I'll really be watching. If we do push up, we'll be watching yesterday's high. That's a potential rejection area, however it's not as a strong rejection point as it was yesterday. We came into that region, hit the new all-time high, then we rejected that area 59.13, and then we rejected it there, poked through, came back and rejected it again, 59.13.50. So, you know, how many times can you knock on the door before we finally break through? So we can also watch that area for the break and retest long. And then we're into all-time high territory, and I don't like shorting all-time highs. I have shorted. I think I did short when we were here around about this area. It's hard work, and as you can see it's very hard trying to get a short, especially when it does that, and eventually it comes down. I think I shorted that day as well. So I'll probably be looking for a pullback, a break and a retest back into this region, which is yesterday's high, for a bounce. And then bounces lower down. If we do lose pre-market low and we come into this area of demand, I like 58.69 for a bounce. That's basically because of the pivot there, tops of candles there, and we've got a little bit of confluence here as well. And we're coming into a volume shelf just here as well. So I quite like that area for a bounce. But if we do lose that area, we've got the 200 moving average coming up into 58.60, and that's an area we've been watching for some time now. Took a couple of successful bounces from there this week. We can watch that again. Like I said, like above, we've bounced there once, twice, 3, 4 times. So potentially we may not hold it the 5th time or the 4th time, depends how many times you count as a bounce. But we could also watch for the break and retest short. Point of controls not all the way down here, so most of the volume's down here on this chart. And we also have volume around 58.30. And we also have volume around 58.60, our bounce area. So these are areas to keep an eye on if you're looking for extra confirmation for bounces. And also we've got volume, this region here as well, which is yesterday's low all the way up to yesterday's high, that area there. So that's where our volume is today. Moving on to, let's have a quick look at the order flow while we're talking about it. So we've got no divergence, all looks as expected. We've got price rising. We did have not really much of a divergence, but this is rising as well, as you can see. So a little bit of a divergence. You can see here, price is going up. No, it's exactly the same. There's no. We just had a couple of big sellers come in there, which is reflected on the prices, and then we push back up again. So there's nothing unusual. We do have this area here which is 5900, psychological number, and it's a potential area of high volume. You can see that on the 5-minute chart as well, so lots of large orders sitting there. And then let's have a look below. No, 30-minute filtered. This is a region. I think we could hold that area, so potentially if we break out below this, we can watch 5900 for the bounce area. Back to that. I will be back in a second. I'm back. There's somebody at my door. Right, so looking at the next ticker, which is SPY, similar to the ES, we've got this area here to watch for potential rejection, 585, or we can watch it for the break and retest long into all-time highs. We've got pre-market high, we can watch 584.13, break and retest long. Pre-market low at 58, 582, well 583, break and retest short. And then we can watch this area here at 581.20, 581.26 for potential bounce. And I've not got it marked up because I've closed a lot of my lines. We've also got 580 for the bounce as well. Let's just mark that area as well. That one there. I've got 579.13, but between that and 580. SPX. Same levels as yesterday. Nothing's changed. You can see how we are honouring the levels. Bouncing and rejecting. You can see quite clearly these levels are definitely being honoured. So we can keep an eye on these. We're going to be opening up about there in between these levels. So we can watch for rejection at 580, 58.70 if we're looking to find a short. Or if we're looking for a bounce, we can watch for a bounce down at 58.45 area. NQ. Okay, we've got this region here, which is our rejection area. We can keep an eye on that. There's a little bit of volume above. There's a bit of a volume shelf coming into this area here. Last time it was up there, we had a massive big reaction back down. So I do quite like the rejection at 26.30, 26.40 area. So that's my prime area for rejection. And we can also play the levels we've got. So yesterday's low 23.50. This region here for a bounce. You can see we've held it. It's been a significant area in the past and potentially, and it was yesterday, so we can watch that area as well for a bounce back up. If we lose this area, if we do bounce, we've got a target, which is the point of control. We've got to keep an eye on this point of control because that's where the volume is. So if we're looking for a bounce, we can probably keep an eye on pre-market low for potential bounce as well if we're playing the volume. If we lose this area, we can watch yesterday's low, break and retest yesterday's low, down into this region. I'm not sure how good these lines are now. Looking left, and we're not at all-time highs with Nasdaq. We've got all-time highs. We're a bit behind compared to the ES and SPY. So we've got areas of confidence down here, so we can watch these areas for bounces as well. QQQ. So same as Nasdaq, we can watch 496.40 area for a rejection. We can watch this area here for rejection as well, or we can watch it for a break and retest. We've got pre-market high, break and retest, pre-market low, break and retest short, and I do quite like this area here, which is 490 for a bounce if you get down to that area. Crude oil, holding this level, but we've been there once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5. If you count these ones here, 6, 7, 8 times. So potentially we could potentially be looking to lose that area. One thing to note is the really low volume as well in that area. We had increasing volume as we was pushing up, but decreasing volume coming down. So generally we could see one of two things. Let's just clear that. We've got this range we are in, and we're either going to do one of two things. We are going to lose this range, come back up in, or we're going to lose the range on the plus side. Let's just look at the daily, just get an idea of what the current trend is. You can see we've been playing in between this wedge pattern, and we're kind of in that messy bit here where it's not quite made a decision which way to go. It's hard to tell which way it's going to go. We've got more outside of this wedge, so potentially we could say we favour the short down, but so we can keep an eye on that and see where we are. Other levels on the daily we can watch out for is $60, and then we've got this region down here at $58 as well. So, and you can see on the daily we are just consolidating. So we broke down, we're putting in this flag pattern, and it's on reduced volume as well. So potentially if we lose, we can watch for a breakdown of $69 basically, maybe a break and retest back up down, or we can watch for the breakout of that area back up to 71. Gold is looking strong, another all-time high today in the pre-market. Let's go down to the hourly. I quite like the bounce on the previous pivot to 2700, and obviously all-time highs, so it's hard to go short, but we can keep an eye for a break and retest of 2732, or we can watch this area, yesterday's high for the bounce. Don't really like the idea of going short. We're in this massive big uptrend. We can draw a trend line going all the way up almost, so we probably don't want to even consider shorts unless we can break down below this trend line. So look for a trend entry, yesterday's high, pre-market low, and pre-market high for bounces. And obviously if we pull back to yesterday's low, that's going to be a good area of confidence, and it's pretty close to a pivot, but we've got that pivot from end of September to watch for a bounce. That's 2700, and 2700 is a psychological number. RTY, which is a Russell 2000, looking pretty bullish, into all-time high territory I believe. Nope, not quite. That's our all-time high there. But we've got a target if we're watching for a break and retest long. So that's my first level, 23. If we can clear 23.11, then we can look for a break and retest. We want to get out and get above that previous pivot here. Once we're above that pivot, then we can watch for probably not much upside until we get to 23.41, and that's the previous all-time high. Let's quickly look at the daily for a second. Okay. When we mapped that out a few days ago and we broke that trend, you can see hopefully somebody took that. Not much volume up here as well, so it's a difficult one, but this is the region we probably want to look to try and get out of. You can see this pattern actually, and let's just draw it in this way. So we've got this level here, and we've got this level here, and we're probably just going to fill this gap until either we're going to break out or we're going to break down. So it's something to keep an eye on. Just drawing the trend. Let's draw the trend line for this anyway. Can we match it with that one? Let's use that as a general guide. And then we can watch for bounces off this trend line as well. Okay, YM. So a bit of increased volume over the last day. Let's go into the hourly. There's nothing. It's quite extended on the daily. So I quite like this area. Pre-market high, potential rejection area. Yesterday's low. We had no follow through today in the pre-market. We can watch this area for two areas, either a break and retest long or a rejection. And if we lose pre-market low, then I quite like the break and retest a pre-market low, because we would have broken that trend as well. And a bit like this trend, we broke that trend, we came back up to retest. We probably could say we retested it there and back down. So there's a few areas we can watch. And then finally, Bitcoin. It's been looking strong the last few days. We've got the pre-market high area, break and retest long. We've got the bounce at yesterday's low, which is an area of confluence. You can see bottoms and tops of pivots. Tops of pivots here is a level we've been watching. If we go back left, you can see it's probably pivots as well and areas of confluence. So Bitcoin's looking good at the moment. Break and retest, I quite like that area to continue to trend up into these levels. We've got this level here we can put in now. It wasn't in play before. So that area there we can watch, which is 70,000. So that's a psychological number, so we can use that as a target if we go long. Okay, that's it. We've looked at order flow. Order flow's still the same, nothing unusual other than it's just broken out a little bit. And it takes ages trying to update. And on this we can see this pattern forming. And again, like the other ones, we can either see it, we're hitting the maximum swing between the two. We can watch for rejection up in this region, that's why I quite like the rejection. Or we can watch for the bounce, the break and retest of this area here. That's why I got that level in as well. And eventually we can either see it break out or we could see it break down. So this is what we're watching for. We're pretty extended on the daily. Let's go to the daily quickly. You know, we haven't got back to the 50 moving average for some time, or the 200. How are we on the weekly? On the weekly we're pretty extended. If you look on the weekly, we literally run up the 8-9 moving average. We're pretty extended from there. We don't get massive moves away from it on the weekly. If you go back at this trending up, came back, trending up, it came back quite a few times, came back, and then broke down. You know, we don't leave the 20 moving average that much, this 8 moving average that much. And when we do 1, 2, 3 days back, here we got 1, 2, 3 days back, 1, 2, 3, 4 days back. So it's quite a few days, and we've been running it, so we're on it now. So maybe we could see another few more days up and then a pullback back down to it again, or a few weeks. I'm sorry, I'm on about weeks, not days. Looking at daily, you know, we again on the daily we don't venture too far away from the 8 moving average. When we do, we either correct and then it broke down, but we run up along it. So we're quite on it at the moment. So the daily doesn't look too extended. We are far away from the 50 though, and the 200, and the weekly. Well, the month. Look at that, the monthly as well. Monthly is exceptionally extended. You know, we're right up here. We got the 8, the 20, the 50, and the 200, and we haven't been back to the 200 since this region here, 2012, 2011. We haven't been back to the 50 since 2022. If we look at every time we came back to the 50, I would say we got close there. And we're pretty getting extended, so we are getting ready to potentially come back again. So let's just keep an eye, we play the charts. Volume wise, we're seeing decline in volume, lots of bottom tails as a sign of weakness. That is, it means the market has been driven all the way down and all the way back up. So there is sellers up here, so we know there's sellers up here. So potentially, you know, we could be seeing these are higher volume tests. So once we start seeing a low volume test up here, then we know there's no more buyers, and then we might see the market come back down. Okay, that's it. That's I'm done. Trade safe, and I will be back Monday morning on my other stream, which is my order flow, that's now live, and that'll be live until the market closes. I won't be around tomorrow, so it'll probably be live through the weekend as well. Thanks for watching.